Girivanidhari Gopijana Balava Girivanidhari Gopijana Balava Girivanidhari Gopijana Balava Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astottara Sadashishimad ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Dham Mayapur ki, Ganga Maya ki, Jamuna Maya ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Gaur Pramanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswati Vyasa Tator Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 80, text number 9, I believe. Sudāmā visits Lord Krishna. Nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāc śriyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś cha śaraṇyaś cha bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahma bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyaḥ patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sakhā sākṣāt śrīyah patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ. Ladies, okay. Anyone else? No? Nanu brahman bhagavataḥ sākṣāt śrīyah patiḥ brahmaṇyaś śaraṇyaś bhagavān sātvatarṣabhaḥ. Nanu, indeed, brahman, O brahman, bhagavataḥ, of your exalted self, sakhā, the friend, sākṣāt, directly, śriyaḥ, of the Supreme Goddess of fortune, patiḥ, the husband, brahmaṇyaḥ, compassionate to brahmans, and śaraṇyaḥ, willing to give shelter, and bhagavān, the Supreme Lord, sātvata, of the Yādavas, ṛṣabhaḥ, the best. Sudāma's wife said, O Brahman, isn't it true that the husband of the goddess of fortune is the personal friend of your exalted self? That greatest of Yādavas, the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, is compassionate to brahmans and very willing to grant them his shelter. Sudāma's wife said, O Brahman, isn't it true that the husband of the goddess of fortune is the personal friend of your exalted self, the greatest of Yādavas, the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, is compassionate to brahmins and very willing to grant them his shelter. That's very loud downstairs. He's shouting. Maybe they can turn it down. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupada. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī explains in his commentary how the Brahman's wife anticipated every possible objection her husband might make to her request that he go to Lord Kṛṣṇa to beg charity. If the Brahman might say, how could the husband of the goddess of fortune befriend a fallen soul like myself? She replies by saying that Lord Kṛṣṇa is brahmaṇyaḥ, very favorably disposed towards the Brahmans. If Sudāma might claim to have no real devotion for the Lord, she replies by saying that he is a great and wise personality who would surely obtain the shelter and mercy of the Lord. If the Brahman might object that Lord Kṛṣṇa is equally disposed to all the countless unhappy conditioned souls suffering the fruits of their own karma, she replies that Lord Kṛṣṇa is especially the Lord of the devotees, and thus even if he himself did not grant Sudāma his mercy, certainly devotees engaged in serving the Lord would mercifully give him some charity. Since the Lord protects the sattvatas, the members of the Yadu dynasty, what difficulty would there be for him to protect a humble brahman like Sudāmā? And what fault would there be in his doing so? Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangurlangayate Girim Yat Kripatanaham Bande Shri Guru Jinatanam. So, Śrīla Prabhupada is quoting Viśvanātha Cakravartī in his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Viśvanātha Cakravartī, of course, is known as the jewel of all the acharyas. And here he's describing that Sudāmā Brahman, who was a very close friend, he was in the ashram of Sandipani Muni, in the Gurukula ashram of Sandipani Muni with Krishna. And Śrīla Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book, in this particular chapter, summary study of the 10th canto, that Krishna and Sudāmā Brahman went into the forest to collect some firewood. Samit pani Brahman Tadviginartha Sagrum Ivabhikachit Samit pani Brahmanish Samit pani Shotyam Brahmanishtam. That the Gurukula system is such, the one surrenders fully to the Acharya, to the spiritual master, lives in the Gurukula, and fetches water and fuel for cooking for the spiritual master. We may remember that Narottam Das Thakur, when he went to Vrindavan, Lokanath Goswami had sworn to never take any disciple. So, Lokanath Swami was living in the forest in Vrindavan, and we know that after answering to the call of nature, that Narottam Das Thakur would go and clean up where he was passing. He would clean that area every evening. So in this way, he was serving his future spiritual master in such a way that he won the affection of his spiritual master. We also know that Ishvara Puri, he was also serving Madhavendra Puri, who was an invalid. And he was lying there. Of course, Madhavendra Puri is such a great Mahabhagavat that he understood the most esoteric and confidential feelings of Srimati Radharani, known as Mahabhav. Only a very few great devotees could enter into this understanding of Radharani's Mahabhav. So Ishvara Puri would clean up his spiritual master. His Madhavendra Puri was quite invalid, and he served him in a very menial way. And we know that due to this great service, that Lord Chaitanya, God himself, accepted Ishvara Puri as his spiritual master. So here Sudāmā Brahman is very emaciated, very poor. His clothes are very tattered. His dhoti is tattered. Who knows if he even had a kurta. And his wife, of course, the wife is more or less the home minister. She wants that some nice foodstuffs is offered to Krishna in the household. So here she's urging, and she's strategizing how to convince her husband to go and ask a favor of Lord Krishna. Because we know, anihani amanasya viraga sarvakamebhya shikshito me madhuvratat anihani amanasya. The devotee of the Lord has no doesn't want to bother Krishna with any material desire. He's aniha. One of the 26 qualities of the Vaishnava is that he is aniha. Has no desire, not a tinge of desire. He doesn't want to bother Krishna at all. We see this example with Raghunath Das. His father and uncle were collecting 1,200,000 coins every year, yearly. They were zamindars, not far from here in Ramakeli. And they were very powerful kayastas. And Raghunath Das, although he was born in such a wealthy family, by some arrangement of Lord Chaitanya and tricks, he escaped the captivity of his father. His father had him under the jurisdiction of 4 guards, and some Brahmins were also there, and some cooks cooking for him. So 11 persons were always with him. Somehow or other, because of his love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he escaped to Puri. So in Puri, his father was sending him money to feed Lord Chaitanya. But after a while, he was thinking, why am I accepting money from materialistic people? Govardhan Majumdara, they accepted Nilambar Chakravartī, Lord Chaitanya's grandfather, as their uncle. And practically speaking, the 2 brothers, the Majumdaras, were supporting all the Brahman Vaishnavas in the entire area, Ramakeli area and Navadvip area. They were so wealthy. However, Prabhupada said they were not pure devotees, they were friends of devotees, because they were covered with material desires. They had attachments to family life, to wealth, Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janavati Ashu Vairagyam Gyanam Chaya Dahoitukam. When one progresses in his devotional service from bhajana kriya, one comes to the stage of nishta, which means one becomes fixed in devotional service or steady. However, during bhajana kriya there is nishta developing, but there's also anishtata. Anishtata means that there's some residual attachments within the heart still, some material desires, and therefore one has to purify this to come to the stage of ruchi, ashakti, then bhava, and of course ultimately prema, or love for Krishna. So when chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one is gradually anartha nivriti, one is purifying his heart of the anarthas, but some residuals are still sitting in your heart, residuals are loitering in the heart. It says just like a serpent whose fangs have been removed, but still the serpent might bite you and give you some distress. So with those little minuscule anarthas in the heart, there sometimes comes distress, even if one is fixed in his devotional service and is performing Vedi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, which is the process, the means of attaining Sadhya or Prema Bhakti. So here, of course, Sudāmā Brahman, he is a Prema Bhakti. He's full of love for Krishna. Krishna was with him in the forest. There was a huge storm, so much lightning, so much thunder, so much rain, and they got lost in the night. You can imagine 2 little boys. Krishna, of course, is in the mood of a little Puganda, a little 7-year-old boy with Sudāmā Brahman. And the next morning, of course, when the sun came up, the disciples of Sandipani Muni went looking for Krishna and Sudāmā Brahman and found them and rescued them. And Sandipani Muni expressed his gratitude that you are very wonderful and surrendered disciples, śaraṇyaḥ, śaraṇyaḥ, taking shelter, one who takes shelter. So now Sudāmā Brahman, he doesn't have a whole lot of Lakshmi. And of course, we know that those who are devotees of Krishna, Yasyaham Anugrinami, Prabhupada would say this verse. He had a pharmacy and he had business in Varanasi area, Kashi, and different places. But Krishna had a big plan for Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was quite successful. He had his own car. Apparently he had a car, a nice American car, at one point when he had his pharmacy. But he was very, very interested. Every time he visited Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's lectures and programs in Vrindavan Mathura, he had a very big Pandal program. Prabhupada would sit and listen, even though many of his godbrothers would leave. He would sit through the whole lecture. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would say, I have marked him. He listens well. So that is the key. That is the watering of our creeper. Shrunvata swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana Vidiyantasta sohya bhadrani vidinoti suritsatam. By hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna, one develops such attachment to the Lord and all his anartas, anarta nivritti, all the anartas gradually come into being zero or almost zero in sadhana bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse because his business failed. But Krishna had this great plan that with such great determination and such intense desire to please his spiritual master, Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī, of course, has given us the prayers, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasada na kati katopi. That the key ingredient to success in going back home, back to Godhead and pleasing the Lord is how to catch the dust of the lotus feet of the great Acharya, the great spiritual master. Naishammatistava durukanwangring, sprishatyanana, mahiya sampada rajobhishekam, niskintananana vrinitayavat. That one has to take and bathe himself, take abhishek, in the dust coming from the lotus feet of the great devotees of the Lord. Mahat sevam dharma hurvi muktesh. And then the gateway to the spiritual world is open. So Sudāmā Brahman, he takes a little bit of chip rice in a little bag and he goes to Dwarka. He travels to Dwarka and he was just excited to see Krishna. He wasn't so like, oh yes, let me see what I can get out of Krishna. Ahaitukiya pratiyata. There's no satisfaction hankering after, material things. It won't give us any satisfaction. These are the residuals as we practice sadhana bhakti. And nishta, we're regular, we're fixed, but these ananishtata comes in sometimes, certain desires. Sometimes one thinks, oh, I've been chanting for 5 years or 10 years. So now I'm a master of devotional service. I've mastered the art of devotion. This is a kind of anartha that comes within the heart. Or one is in this devotional service for a long time and then he thinks, oh, I should have some benefit. I should get some perks. I should get the Mahaprasadam at Rajbhog Mahaprasad. Come to me. Or something like that. I should have some pratishta, some position, high position amongst the devotees so that they can give some puja. Yes, Maharaj. Some puja. So these are all contaminations that block, like a wall or a curtain that blocks us from actually attaining this Premanam Sankirtan, this this premanam, this ruchi, this taste for the sweet nectar of the holy name. One may wonder, why doesn't so-and-so, after so many years, get that nice sweet taste of the holy name? Well, there's little residuals within the heart, anartas, that one keeps cultivating. And Bhaktisiddhanta says, you're watering the weeds around the creeper. All these weeds, labh, some material gain. I'm in the Krishna consciousness program, in the the formula, but somehow or other, again, some material desires have arisen within my heart, labh. I have some material desire, some gain. I have some desire to gain something. But Sudāmā Brahman, he's completely sold out to the lotus feet of Krishna, and he was so happy to go and see Krishna. And of course here, Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur is saying that Krishna is brahmaṇyaḥ. Brahmaṇyaḥ. He's very affectionate to the Brahmins. Of course, Brahman Vaishnavas, not just Brahmin. Tat karma nipino vipro mancha tantra visharada avaishnavo nasat guru. Vaishnavanam swapacho guru. This is the whole message of Lord Chaitanya. When Ramananda Roy was having an interlocution with Lord Chaitanya in South India, and then, what is the perfection of life? Ramananda Roy said, one who perfects the varna and ashram, he has perfected his life. Lord Chaitanya said, reject, reject, I reject immediately. And Lord Chaitanya, go higher, go higher. One who engages in devotion, in service, based on the varna and ashram, that is perfection. Lord, no, go more higher, more higher. So Ramananda Roy was taken by Lord Chaitanya all the way to Madhurya Ras. And then Madhurya Ras in Vipralamba, in separation from Krishna. There's Sambhoga, where Radharani is associating with Krishna, but then sometimes Krishna abandons her. This is in the Shikshashtakam prayers. And then Radharani is feeling very upset, but then that feeling of upset, if it pleases Krishna, it is the greatest of tastes. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu, in the last few years in Puri, was always tasting this high nectar of separation from Krishna. He wasn't feeling like, oh, now I have Krishna, but this mood of separation, Vipralamba, is the highest taste. So Ramananda Roy, of course, was taught to reject this simply, I'm a Brahman, na ham Vipro, na Charapatir, na ham Sudro, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur, Dasa Dasa Anudas. I'm simply the servant of those who serve the gopis and the maintainer of the gopis, Lord Krishna. So that is what we're learning. So Sudāmā Brahman, he went into this wonderful place, Dwarka, with so many 900,000 beautiful palaces and 16,108 of Krishna's palaces. It's all described by Sukadeva Goswami. The pillars were made of precious gems. The roads were very beautiful. There were beautiful highways and roadways with flanked by beautiful trees and beautiful birds and beautiful parks and swans. Can you imagine Dwarka, how beautiful it was? And he went there, and Krishna immediately offered him respects and washed his feet, and offered him personally, got some nice foodstuffs and offered it to him, and showed that Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya, that Krishna is the lover of the real Brahman, the one who is completely absorbed in serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. That is the real Brahmin. Not that I know mantras and tantras. I do some nice rituals. Narada Muni is preaching to Prachina Barishat in the fourth canto. Stop all this karma kanda. Narottam Das Thakur says, karma kanda, jnana karma, vishera bandha. That these are like pots of poison you're drinking. So all these Brahminical things, and the wives of the Brahmins in Vrindavan, they completely embarrassed the Brahmins and made them feel so ashamed of themselves. Oh, we're too busy doing rituals. We can't feed Krishna right now. You know, we're too busy. We're Brahmins. We're the representatives of Narayan. So, like this. Dambo Darpo, arrogance, pride, conceit are dangerous elements within the consciousness of aspiring devotees. So Krishna took Sudāmā Brahman, and the bed that Rukmini lies on, he had him sit on the same bed that the goddess of fortune lies on every night with Krishna, Rukmini, goddess of fortune. All the wives of Krishna are all goddesses of fortune. Satyabhama, Jambavati, they're all goddesses of fortune. So Lord Krishna was glorifying Sudāmā Brahman, reminiscing on when they were young boys in the Gurukula of Sandipani Muni. And he was telling him how wonderful it was. And so, of course, Sudāmā Brahman was very shy. And how can I offer Krishna some dry chipped rice, you know? It's not becoming of Krishna. He's a supreme. In Dwarka, their devotees, they're full of prema for Krishna, but it's called Aishvarya Prem. There's some on veneration. They know that Krishna is Super Soul, that he is Supreme Vishnu, that he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, as compared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Vrindavana parichaja padamikam nadigachati. Krishna, the cowherd boy, Nandana, he never leaves Vrindavan. So when Akrura was taking Krishna and Balaram to Mathura to deal with Kamsa, we saw that he stopped at the Yamuna River, and then Akrura was looking in the chariot and he saw Krishna Balaram, and then he looked over the Yamuna River, and who did he see? He saw Sheshanag and Lord Vishnu with 4 arms lying on Sheshanag in the Yamuna, and he started offering prayers by Akrura. So we can read those prayers and try to practice how to offer prayers to Krishna. Beautiful prayers by Akrura. So this is Aishvarya Prem, Aishvarya Bhakti, where there's some on veneration there, which is not quite as sweet as Madhurya Bhakti, Madhurya or Prema Bhakti. So anyway, Sudāmā Brahman was sitting there, and Rukmini, she was watching, and Krishna said, "Oh, what is this you have?" And he took some morsel of the of the chipped rice and popped it in his mouth. And then he was about to take some more, and Rukmini, she touched his hand and said, "You're accepting patram pushpam param toyam yome bhakta prayachati tadaham bhaktyuparitam ashnami prayatat manaha." If you offer me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, water, fruit or water, I will accept your bhakti. Tadaham bhaktyuparitam. I'll accept the bhakti. I don't care about the leaf or the water or the fruit. Actually, he's supplying millions of universes full of trees and fruits and, you know, farms and land full of rice, and who knows what you can have in the heavenly planets. It's all emanating from Krishna. So Krishna is just loving Bhaktavatsal. He's just seeing the experiencing, accepting, and relishing the devotional love that Sudāmā Brahman has for him. And Rukmini says this tiny little offering can benedict someone with unlimited opulences more than the king of heaven. More than Indra. How can you imagine the king of heaven? And so Sudāmā Brahman very humbly offered prayers, and Srila Prabhupada describes in this chapter in the Krishna book about how one has to, human civilization is meant for following Devi Varnashram system, and those who do not follow the rules, the regulations, the formula for Varnashram, they're nothing but Dvipada Pashu, nothing but animals. Svavidvara hostakaraya samstuta purusha pashu, two-legged animals. So unfortunately, Prabhupada mentioned there in Krishna book that the 99% of human society now are animalistic. They're degraded to the level of animals because they have no rules, no regulations. They have no idea the rules of Dharma and so on. So, and Prabhupada is saying, describing that the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the gift, the Lord in Kali Yuga, and how he is distributing this Prema Sankirtan, this chanting of the holy names of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. We have to chant, but the chanting is most powerful. Of course, the holy name doesn't wait for initiation. But once one tadvignartam saguram, we have to accept the bona fide Guru Parampara, the representative of the Acharyas, the representative of Lord Chaitanya. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu has shown this very carefully when discussing with Haridas Thakur that one who chants the holy name, he gets benefit, he gets moksha, but the purpose of the holy name is far beyond moksha. That one has to go through the various steps and gradually come to the state of at least bhava and then prem. There is bhajana kriya, then there's nishta, then there's ruchi. Ruchi means one is really becoming enthusiastic to serve the Lord, and 24 hours a day, always remembering the Lord. Satatam kirtayantamam yitantascha rita rataha namasyantas chamam nitya nikti yukta upasate. Always engaging in glorifying the Lord. That is as the stage of perfection for which we are aspiring. So Sudāmā Brahma is always thinking of Krishna, always remembering Krishna, and glorifying his transcendental beauty, his transcendental activities. We know that Krishna has 4 qualities that the Vishnu, his Vishnu expansions don't have. He's always surrounded by loving devotees in the mood of pure prema. The cowherd boys, they don't care that Krishna is God. They're simply having mock fighting with him. Subal is being exhausted from fighting with Krishna. They jump on Krishna's back and play leapfrog with Krishna. Krishna's bodily beauty is so wonderful that even the ornaments on Krishna's body are enhanced by Krishna's beauty. Who can imagine Krishna's beauty? Ramananda Roy was there with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they were discussing, they were like miners who were mining the treasure house of love of God, and they were extracting so many different types of gems, sapphires, rubies, diamonds, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of rasam, the ocean of love of God. While they were mining it, it was like a gold jewel mine. And they were extracting so many different nuances of devotional service. And then ultimately, Srila Prabhupada said, only a few of Lord Chaitanya's confidential associates that Lord Chaitanya revealed who he really was. Radha Bhava Suvalita. that Krishna in the mood of Radharani, tasting this pure sweet prema, this madhur prema. So Lord Chaitanya manifested his form of Radha and Krishna to Ramananda Roy. And Ramananda Roy, when he saw it, his hairs stood on end. And he swooned in ecstasy. Who is Ramananda Roy? Well, some say he's Arjun, some say he's Vishak. He's a combination of both. These are things that are mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But when Arjuna saw Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the mood was entirely different because Krishna is not as merciful as Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is giving this most intimate understanding. He's freely giving the most advanced understanding and experience of the love of God, this Madhurya Ras. So he exhibited this to Ramananda Roy, but on the Kurukshetra field, he exhibited his form of Krishna, two-armed form, and Arjuna's hairs stood on end also. But he didn't reveal this Radha Krishna, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nohi Anya. That Gauranga Mahaprabhu is so merciful. And all the demigods, Prabhupada said, are waiting in line to take birth in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's giving the highest experience of love for Krishna. The Pandavas, they were friends of Krishna, Sakiras. And here we see that Sudāmā, he's also a friend of Krishna. But there's some tarnish there of Aishwarya. But those boys in Vrindavan, the cowherd boys, Sudam, Sridam, Subal, there's one Arjun also. They are loving Krishna, he's just a boy, a cowherd boy. When Krishna was lifting Govardhan Hill with his little finger, oh, we have to help him. Madhu Mangal was helping him, and cowherd boys, all the inhabitants of Brahma, helping Krishna lift this huge mountain, Giri Govardhan. So that is the difference between the Aishwarya Prema and the Madhur Prema that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is so mercifully giving. And of course we know that many personalities have appeared with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to enrich his transcendental pastimes. Like Narada Muni, he has appeared as Srivas Thakur, and his brothers are Aditya, various great sages, and they're also appearing to taste this nectar of the holy name. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Shaktis. That there's so much nectar in that holy name invested by Krishna in the age of Kali. So it's a very simple process. Of course, it's very challenging because we're surrounded by the environment of Kali Yuga. Kalir Doshani De Rajan is full of doshas or faults. This Kali Yuga is so full of faults that people, Manda Sumanda Mataya, they have no understanding of what the mission of human life is. What's the mission of your life? Nartasya Dharma Kantasya. Artha, that's all they care about. Artha, economic development for sense gratification. So the first canto, Sukadeva Goswami, we know, he says, Dharmasya hiya pavargasya nartotaya pakalpate. Nartasya dharma kantasya. That the whole purpose of your life is not to simply get money and enjoy wealth and women. These are the two binding forces in the material world. Opposite sex and money, right? That's what everyone is being driven for. But these things are only the source of misery. It's described in the 7th canto. Shoka moha baya krodha raga klebya shramadaya yanmula śrūṇayam jayat spriham pranartaya pranartaya buddha. that the root cause of all your miseries, shoka, moha, bhaya, krodha, raga, klebya, all these are all the miseries you have. Shamadaya, poverty, hankering and lamenting, anger, illusion, bewilderment, moha, bewilderment, all come from spriha pranartaya, this intense desire. Prana artha, prana means your life air, that material accumulation of wealth and material enjoyment is even more dear to you than your very life air, your prana. So unfortunately, this is the situation in this age, and our business is to, as we know, become Krishna conscious and then give it to others. Become very, very compassionate. Titikshava kurunika. Surita sarva bhutanam. To become friend of all living beings. Prabhupada would say, you simply go out and meet people and say, how are you? You're very intelligent, you're very learned, but I'd like you to read this book. He said, just try this book out. I know you're a very learned person, you're highly educated. Janma, Aishvarya, Shruta, Shibir. Shruti, you're a Shruti. You have a PhD in biology or something. You have this and that. I have so many, I have 2 PhDs. Peon, highly developed. But it's simply Shrama Evi Kevalam, right? Dharma Swanustita Pumsam Vishvaksena. It's simply a waste of time if you don't get a taste, if you don't get this holy name, if you don't get some mercy coming from the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are the soldiers of the great acharyas of Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told Prabhupada at Radha Kund, he said, there's fire in these walls. He said, if you ever get money, print books. He said, I urge you, the first time Prabhupada saw Bhaktisiddhanta, I urge you to go outside of India and spread in the foreign lands, in the foreign languages, print in the foreign languages this great Srimad Bhagavat Purana, the light, giving light in Kali Yuga, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. So this 10th canto is considered to be the face of the Lord. So now we're diving into the face of Krishna. We started with his lotus feet, Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto. There's discussions about them from the Mahabharata, right? And Prabhupada said that the 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, everything, he put everything in that chapter. So when we read that chapter, Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Ridiya Tasto Bhajani Vidunoti Sarit Satam. So many beautiful verses in there that we can meditate on. And then as we go up to the thighs of Krishna, the 2nd canto, 3rd canto, the waist of the Lord, we go through so many understandings from Srimad Bhagavatam, cosmology, our relationship with the material world, Sankhya philosophy, Kapila Dev's Sankhya philosophy, and then we come to the face of Krishna. We understand Krishna as a supreme God, omniscient, omnipotent, and all that. But when Mother Yashoda made Krishna open his mouth and he showed the universal form, Krishna got really bored when she started glorifying him. And he covered her again in the Yoga Maya potency. He wants that pure love to flow towards him. But we have to remember, not like the Sahajas, that they jumped to the 10th canto. All these apasampradayas, which were destroyed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they attacked all the apasampradayas. They take things very cheaply. But we understand that Krishna is unlimited. So yes, he has 16,108 wives. He has so many children, so many sons and daughters. Yes, he has Parakya ras. He has lawless love with the gopis. Not a tinge of lust is there. Pure spiritual relationship with all the gopis. That is the spiritual nature, the spiritual world. So we'll stop here, and we have 5 minutes if there's any comments or any questions about Sudāmā Vipra, Krishna's friend from childhood. Yes, Mataji Gandhari has a question.
I beg your pardon to mention this. You mentioned with Ramananda Roy's discussion.
I mentioned, yep,
with Ramananda Roy's discussion that he said Varnashram, he rejected. So obviously you know that he said it's external, not rejected, as later on you mentioned Deva Varnashram. So I just wanted to point that out, that he did not reject. He just said it's external. Thank you very much.
What was the question?
No, it's a comment.
Can someone repeat?
Reject Varnashram.
He did not reject Varnashram, he said it is external. That's all Mataji is saying.
Right. Oh, good point. Daivi Varnashram is what we're after. In other words, we don't reject Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutashto Vijitendriyaha Yukta Ichitite Yogi Samalostrasma Kanchana. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter on yoga, Krishna says, Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. The one who has knowledge and realization, Kutashto Vijitendriya, but who has his senses under control and who is engaged in devotional service for the Lord, he sees a pebble, a stone, and gold as equal. So in the Varnashram, we see the ashrams and the varnas based on our guna and karma, right? Chaturvarna guna karma vibhaga. That Krishna says, I created the Varna ashram based on your quality and on your work, not on your birth. So of course, the Brahmins took advantage of the Varnashram system in India, and they used it as a tool to dominate everyone else. Because in material consciousness, we always want to dominate everyone else and float to the top, and in this way have power and followers. The ahankar is very powerful. So, in the true Varnashram, even if you're born in a family of dog eaters, right? You can become Brahmin. If you're Vaishnava, you're already a Brahmin, right? So this is the idea. Aho bato sopacho chogaryan yajvigare vartate nama tubhyam. Tapus chashnur. Tapus tutuj he chashnur sharva. How's it go? Brahmunachur nama grinanti ete. Even you're born in the family of dog eaters. If you're a Vaishnava, then you've taken baths in all the holy places, performed all the rituals, etc. And you are a real Brahmin. Question?
Hare Krishna, thank you. Prabhuji,
I'm
today,
pretty deaf, so you have to speak loudly.
Today is the day when Prabhupada left for the US, first time for US. So
Prabhupada went to the US?
Yes.
His departure?
Prabhupada's departure.
Today is the day?
Yes, yes. Prabhupada.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
So any anecdote or incident, event, I mean, you want to share?
Well, we have to understand that Śrīla Prabhupada was driven internally by a super soul, Krishna, and he's driven by the order of his great devotee, spiritual master. So, no matter what, I have to do this, No matter what, Prabhupada said, no matter what, preach. Harikesh was saying, Prabhupada, I don't want to go to Russia and preach, There's nothing to eat there. Prabhupada said, eat meat but preach. Prabhupada said that. In other words, there's no condition, no obstacle. You just go and give your life to the mission of Lord Chaitanya, then you're a real soldier, you're a warrior, and that's what we are, fighting a war. So Prabhupada, with great determination, although his health was poor, he was 70 years, 69, 70, heart attack on the ship, and then heart attack in America. So with that great determination, in fact, when Prabhupada was with us, we were never thinking, he was so youthful, so energetic. He was walking much faster than us when we went for morning walk. And we're like 20 years old, 21, 22. Prabhupada, wait, slow down. Prabhupada walking very, very swiftly, very vigorously. You would never think, 3 heart attacks since leaving India. Had to come back to India to recuperate also. During '68, he came back here to recuperate. Nice sunshine, good weather compared to England and the US. So he never let on that, he had buzzing in his head sometimes from high blood pressure. Then he discovered he had diabetes. He said he was so transcendental, completely transcendental to everything, you see. This is superior Krishna consciousness, very, very much absorbed in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission and the prema of love of God, and that was very obvious when you were in a room with Śrīla Prabhupada. This powerful prema, this prema bhakti is extremely powerful, and it would carry him, although he was suffering from so many heart problems and so on. So he came to Commonwealth Avenue, Commonwealth Pier, actually. Our temple's on Commonwealth Avenue still, Boston. But Commonwealth Pier was where he landed, and he offered prayers. Why did you bring me here, Lord Krishna? What is the purpose? These people are covered by Rajagun, Tamagun, so much materialism, so degradation in the West, so much degradation. You don't see some sophisticated, aristocratic, refined, sattvic person who's born in a Brahmin family or a Vaishnava family like you might see here in Mayapur, India. So many aristocratic or cultured people. A lot of culture here. Spiritual culture. You don't see everyone's kind of like a dog barking, get out of my way. Rush hour in America, sometimes people get shot. So uncultured. Get out of my way or I'll shoot you. So Prabhupada was faced with this, and even he was amidst the hippies at that time, big hippie movement. Prabhupada said, what is a hippie? No one knows. He says hippie means absolutely no principles. No principles. Do whatever you want. Enjoy your senses like a dog, basically. Just enjoy your senses, drugs, whatever. So this is the kind of environment Prabhupada was lowered into by Krishna. But of course, the hippies were looking for moksha. They had rejected these values of their parents, work hard from 9 to 5 and then pay the mortgage, raise the kids. I think they say it costs at least $1 million to raise one kid in the West nowadays. $1 million by the time they get through college. So it's all a big struggle. Yes, Prabhu. So this is what Prabhupada was faced with, and sometimes he would shake his head when the hippies would say something, or if they were on drugs, and he'd say, this is madness. This is madness. Yes, Prabhu.
I don't have a question. I don't have a question, but I have 2 comments.
Oh, thank you.
One is that during Lord Krishna and Sudāmā, they were in Gurukul, Sandipani Muni's ashram. One time, the Sandipani, the Muni's wife, means Guru Mata sent both of them to collect wood from dry wood for cooking. So, but Guru Mata was say it will take longer time, so they give him cheap rice, paha. So when they went, and all of a sudden rain started. So they took shelter one tree, but Sudāmā went up on the tree and he had those cheap rice. So he didn't care for Krishna. He just he was hungry, he ate all of that. Krishna asked him, what is that? Where is my part? He said, I ate that. So that was his offense. Without offering Krishna, he ate it. So he remained poor for a long time.
Oh.
And then when he was grihastha, he had children, his wife, they were very poor, so that he couldn't get the food even. So his wife said, why don't you go to Krishna? He's your friend. So he said, okay, I'll go, but I have to give some gift. What can I bring? So his wife said, okay. She went around to the neighbors, collected some cheap ones to give as a gift to Krishna. So when he went to see Krishna, and he was sat on the higher seat, and wife, queens were washing his feet. And then at the same time, Lord Krishna asked, what did you bring for me? What did my sister-in-law brought me? He was hiding because it was, he said he was ashamed to show it to Krishna. So, but then Krishna said, he snatched it and ate it. When he took one morsel, with one morsel, he gave lot of opulence to Sudāmā. And when second time he was taking, Rukmini stopped him. Because if he takes second, then she will have to go to Sudāmā to serve him. So she stopped him. So anyway, this is what happened. So when he went back, he was lamenting. I went and I even took cheap rice. I'm hungry, still hungry, and I can't get anything. But when he went to his palace,
the house,
his hut, there was a big palace.
Big palace.
Wife was running with.
She looked like God, Lakshmi.
Running, and he was saying, "Who is this?" Finally, she said, "I'm your wife, and by Krishna's mercy, this is what happened." So that's one thing. The other part is, I have a PhD.
Yeah.
So it is called pile high and deep. Means nothing. PhD means nothing. According to one sannyasi, he says PhD means permanent head damage. That's it.
What is PhD?
Permanent head damage.
One PhD told me, when I was in Delhi, he said, peon highly developed. Peon, but this one's better. Yeah, so I forgot to mention that when Sudāmā went back home, there's a massive palace, palatial buildings decorated with gems and diamonds and expensive onyx marble types of pillars, and the whole surrounded by material opulence. And his wife looked like the goddess of fortune. She was decorated in extravagant clothing and so on. So if you're very advanced, like Prabhupada said, yes, I have 108 centers where I can sleep. I can stay in any one of them, 108 palaces. Prabhupada was saying, but first Krishna took away and then gave so much. And now Prabhupada, by his efforts, has millions and millions of anugas. Prabhupada anugas. There's millions all over the world. It's a miracle, I have to admit, a great miracle. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.